Alright guys, the objective is to do this fast, because I have to do some things. But either way, welcome back to yet another episode prediction video for this week's up-and-coming episode of The Walking Dead. I almost said Fear the Walking Dead, because we're very used to that. But The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 2, entitled The Damned. Now, of course, we are going to go over the promo and the sneak peek and stuff like that, but the promo for this episode is kind of like a this season on The Walking Dead. That's what it's titled, right? So I don't know if it's necessarily the promo for this specific episode, but we're going to talk about it either way, all right? We're just going to kind of throw some theories out there because part of the promo does relate to somewhat of what we see in a sneak peek for this episode. So with that being said, I will leave a link in the description below to the promo, the sneak peek, and to the AMC website so you guys can follow along if you guys want to read the synopsis or, dissect it with me or whatever. But either way, Season 8, Episode 2, entitled The Damned. The synopsis of this episode is as follows. The plan involving Alexandrians, Kingdomers, and Hilltoppers unfolds. As Rick continues to fight, he encounters a familiar face. Alright, so the plan involving Alexandrians, Kingdomers, and Hilltoppers unfolds. I believe this plan is to quite literally assault the same thing that they've already assaulted back in Season 6 of The Walking Dead. We've seen them before assault one of Negan's compounds, one of his outposts, basically called the satellite station, okay? Now, the reason we're bringing this back up, I'm not really sure why, to be honest. I think probably new people moved back into the satellite station and retook it. In the sneak peek, we get to see Morgan, we get to see Diane, who's a really good shot with a bow, apparently. She's part of the kingdom. And, we get to see everybody there, including Tara, essentially saying we have to go do this again. Tara brings up that we've done it before. Morgan basically suggests, I wasn't there before. Things could go wrong, unfortunately. Things could happen. And they essentially break down that if anybody knows that they're there, if they fire a gunshot, we're not going to get in. Jesus is there as well, basically saying that. And they need to approach it stealthily, all right? And since they attacked the satellite station the last time, there has been security precautions put into action, whatever you guys want to call it. But it looks like they made like sort of a moat with walkers and, kind of for protection. Morgan brings up, how could we blame them after what happened before? And like I said, they attacked this place before, right? I believe it was episode 11, maybe 12 of season 6. I believe it was one of those episodes. I believe probably, I want to say 12. I could be wrong on that, but it's either 11 or 12 because 13 was Carol. Yeah, so it would have been probably 12. Either way, okay. We're just going to breeze by it, all right? So the sneak peek is essentially them saying that we need to get in and, we need to take out the guard. And Diane basically says she only needs a few seconds to take the shot. And like I said, then Jesus brings up the fact that if they fire a gun, we're not going to get in. And Morgan basically tells Diane to not let them fire a gun. And they nod at each other and basically understand the plan all the way around. Tara looking badass as usual. I think she's just really nonchalantly badass because she has, her pistol in her hand. She's pulling back, the slide, everything like that, just getting ready, right? And it looks pretty cool, I will say so. Now that's pretty much it for the sneak peek. There was a sneak peek on Talking Dead, but I didn't actually get to watch Talking Dead, so that is very unfortunate to say the least. But either way, the promo for this episode, all right, we have Rick and Daryl looking like they're together. Daryl sort of took the bike that way. Rick's walking this way towards the camera, really badass-like. We have Ezekiel giving a speech, basically saying, we will not lose one of our ranks, basically assuring them that hopefully none of them will die. And essentially saying, there's tons of dialogue. Rick basically says, if these guns get to the sanctuary, it could free up an exit. So that further suggests to me that their whole plan was to basically tie up the sanctuary with a herd of walkers, which is exactly what they did in the comic book. They basically blocked them in and try to prevent them from getting out until they dealt with all the other outposts, right? That was kind of their objective. And that's what's going on here too, right? So they're basically saying, they don't want the guns to get to the sanctuary because that could free up an exit for Negan and his men. Now, I believe their objective here is to essentially assault that satellite station where they believe probably the guns are going to be coming from. You know, they're going to be trying to get the guns from there to the sanctuary, not Rick and his people, obviously the other saviors, you know, the other people that probably moved into the outpost after they killed the other guys, right? So essentially they're trying to get guns to Negan and his men to get them out of there and save them, and Rick and his group is basically trying to prevent that from happening. So that's what the synopsis leads to here. The plan involving Alexandrians, Kingdomers, and Hilltoppers unfolds. So that's the plan that they're probably talking about there, is they're just planning on taking all out, or planning on taking all of the outposts that Negan has out, and then eventually getting to Negan and his men, right? I believe that's the plan. I believe that's the all-around plan that they're going to be trying to do, you know, right now in this season, or the beginning of the season. Very smart plan, by the way. Totally smart. You know, take out the few groups that they need to, you know, before they get to the main, right? The main group that they're trying to eliminate, which is obviously Negan and his men back at the sanctuary. So they're keeping them tied up with the walkers and taking out the outposts in succession, you know, just going around to all the outposts that they know about and stuff like that. And I assume they probably just want to try to, like the other saviors, they want to try to get the guns to the sanctuary to help Negan out, right? That's probably their objective, right? Also in this promo, we see a car chase, which looks pretty cool. We've seen this in the trailer for The Walking Dead, the SDCC trailer. We've seen this as well. There was a car chase. Daryl's shooting some things as well. It looks like Rick is basically hopping off of his car onto a savior's car, and that savior's car is probably loaded up with weapons and gear. That's you know, a pretty good estimate there. So that's going on. You know, it looked pretty badass, looked pretty action packed, if you will. I don't know if that's this episode. I assume it is, because he's probably trying to track him down. You know, probably something goes wrong during the assault on the outpost, and one of them maybe fires a shot and gives them a warning, and then one savior ends up trying to get away, you know, ends up getting away, and they basically have to chase him down. That's my prediction for this episode. That's probably going to be a pretty main plot point, which is going to be exciting to say the least, because, like I said, we get to see Rick sort of jump from car to car, which was pretty cool, and, you know, kind of punch the savior there in the other car, and prevent them from getting to Negan. So interesting to say the least. Also in this season on The Walking Dead, we see Negan there basically saying we have to win. He's inside of his sanctuary as well, so we can assume that he does get out of the little trailer he is in with Gabriel, whether that'll be in this episode or not, because like I said, it says this season on The Walking Dead, so could very well be in the episode, but I feel like it's not narrowed down enough for us, which is completely fine, you know, because they probably want to keep us guessing, so that's why they're saying this season on The Walking Dead. So either way, the other part of the synopsis here, we don't really have a clue to. We really don't. We have no idea what this part of it's talking about. As Rick continues to fight, I mean, obviously he's fighting against the saviors and stuff like that, he encounters a familiar face. What does that mean? Who does he know that's with the saviors now? You know what I mean? Like, I was kind of thinking, you know, I thought it was a kind of a ridiculous thought, right? We've seen many people in the past, do these sorts of videos on whether or not Morales was coming back, or Morales, or whatever you guys want to call him. He's obviously a character from season 1 that did split up from the group, you know, with his family and stuff. And it's just really weird to think that it would be him. But I can't think of anybody else that Rick knew before and they kind of split off, you know, and they kind of went separate ways. He encounters a familiar face. So I don't really know what that would mean, because that would be a really weird way of describing that if it was just somebody that he's used to seeing or used to talking to, like, you know, Daryl or, you know, Carol or something like that, or Morgan. A familiar face. It wouldn't make sense, you know what I mean? It truly would not make sense whatsoever. I can't think of any other characters, though, that would, you know, really come to mind other than, like, Morales. If you guys can think of any others, you know, maybe I'm missing some. It totally could be a possibility. But Morales is definitely a possibility, you know, it totally is. You know, I don't want to get into this speculation or anything like that, but it definitely, I don't see why it wouldn't be a possibility. I don't see why it couldn't be a possibility, right? He could have easily ended up with the saviors, right? And if that does happen, if Morales is with the saviors, what's going to happen there with Rick? You know, is Rick just going to straight up kill him? Or are they going to talk to each other? Is Morales going to join Rick? You know, what's going to really happen here? You know, what's what altercation is going to happen when they connect eyes with each other. You know, when they actually see each other, Morales is going to be like, oh shit, this is the guy who saved us, you know, back in, well, he's not going to say season 1, but for us, it's season 1, right? Back at the start. And, you know, it's just going to be really awkward if it is him, which you know, like I said, it's totally in the realm of possibility. I don't see why it couldn't be, you know. But with that being said, I don't really have any other ideas for what a familiar face could mean. You know, it's obviously a familiar face, you know, somebody that he's met before and that he's somewhat familiar with, right? It's just, it's going to be weird unless it's just going to be like a flashback, like I kind of talked to you guys about in my episode review video for this last episode of The Walking Dead, Mercy. Like I said there, you know, there has been times where he has seen Lori in the past, he has seen Shane in the past, but Rick's not really in a state of peril right now. You know, he's not really in a state of craziness. You know, he's not crazy Rick at the moment. He has no reason to be crazy Rick, right? But I guess, you know, that could totally be as well. He could just see a familiar face in that sense. I don't necessarily think so, but other than Morales, I can't think of anything else. Could totally be wrong. It could totally be somebody else. Like, I just don't know who else it would be. You know what I mean? So if you guys have any suggestions on who else it could be, maybe other than Morales or whatever you guys want to call him. Not too familiar with the character, so I don't necessarily know how to pronounce his name, but either way, that was it, guys. Season 8, Episode 2, The Damned. That was my episode predictions. Again, not very in-depth, because we don't really have too much to go on, but the screenshots for this episode, we see Carol all suited up in gear with an AK in her hand, you know, in the woods, probably marching on something. We see a really badass picture, which will be the thumbnail for this video, of Rick coming down a big, open, darkened hallway, you know, with light at the end of it, and he's kind of silhouetting rather down it, and it looks really badass to say the least. He looks like he's clearing doorways, you know, left and right and stuff like that, and you know, probably clearing out an outpost or something. Very, very big possibility on that end. You know, it could be the satellite station. I don't necessarily know, but it definitely could be. And yeah, that'll be it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I have to go do some stuff now, so I apologize, but I should be live later on today with some Fortnite, because there is going to be the Halloween update. It's updating right now, so I'm thinking about streaming that. If you guys are interested in, you know, seeing that, let me know. Okay, we're making noises all the way around. Thanks for updating, Gyaza. Appreciate it, computer. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, take care, everybody. It's been Frost.